parrot and butterfly habitat. A conversation, an argument, an exchange of words, a competition. What noisy creatures they are! They can't stop talking. What busy creatures they are! They can't stop flapping their wings. What a fate to share space with them. No wonder the artists wanted to have a netted fence between us. Thinking separately in their own languages, they both thanked Mr. Cornell for having such a kind and thoughtful idea. Paper parrots, paper butterflies, they are too proud to be nice to each other. But funny, they're equally proud of their beautiful coloring.
And this is William Parker. So Steve was always there. Steve was a throwback to the feeling of the 60s, of the independent filmmakers and independent artists who were not involved in, they were involved in day-to-day art making, meaning you'd walk around with a camera and you'd film. You would sit on a park bench, you would walk around with a pad, and you would write. You'd walk around with a drawing, paper, and you'd paint or you'd sketch. And that was like immediate, spontaneous documentation, which one would hope would lead to creativity. And so I think at the first period, he was going through a process of self-discovery, and but his determination and consistency of being there every single night and having to be there to listen and experience this music, I think it was a lifeline. It was a school for him, and it was a lifeline for his outlet for creativity.
This is Matthew Shipp here. I would say he took being influenced by jazz in his writing to a whole nother level because Steve was there every night. He was passionate about the music. The music really instilled in him a set of images, and then he took the art of writing about gigs and writing about the music every night to a whole nother level because he did it night after night after night, year after year after year, following artist after artist after artist. And it got to be a very serious discipline with Steve about writing directly from the music. And, you know, what's so great about that, he became very close friends with a lot of the musicians. I mean, I was very, very close to Steve. I can speak for myself, where he was at almost every gig I did in New York for a 30-some year period. And I know many of the gigs elicited written responses. And he also took the time to talk to me and really get to know how my mind worked and what turned me on as an artist and what my creative process was like. So, you know, there was a synergy between the images that I gave to him, whatever the music elicited in him, and how that came together in his own writing. And he took that to a whole nother level because he pursued it with such a dedicated focus. And you can almost, you know, in one way, Steve embodied walking around New York to different venues. So you can almost get a map in your mind of the venues in New York through Steve's walking around on the street.
I'm lost. They've knocked me back to the Stone Age. This sick skin in a dream populated by science fiction literates. This terribly lonely dream populated by people into their own heads. Gin drinkers and young girls sitting around four-legged bathtubs like fountain ornaments. Stigmata the size of $50 in their outstretched palms, shooting sperm-like elixir out of them like hot ice pops. These are an old man's fantasies. Mother and daughter sitting on the living room couch, legs crossed one over the other. Sick mom, sick daughter, sick skin. I got my marriage license today, and it made my head wound hurt all the more. I watched them reading a book in the mirror. I am more tired than my parents. It is partly cloudy, and I feel shallow, panicky, watery, and itchy. As shallow as the book I'm writing, knocked back to the Stone Age. I wait for her by the window after 7 days of rain. This after I accused the Korean girl of trying to shortchange me. He spoke of the autonomy of a work of art and other intellectual bullshit that went right under my head. He's her brother, I thought. They think alike. The window was getting cold. The music watered down like the drinks. My eyes, the girls by the fountain, the mother, the daughter, the day, and my sick skin. I told him that crap was crap, that it was all crap, that art shouldn't be criticized, dissected, or watered down. I told him that people should not have to explain art, but instead should listen to Satie. I thought of my love for his sister as a strange dependent love, and she, I, but I knew that we would definitely be married soon. I am always aware of my own stupidity. Tomorrow I will work for an ad agency reviewing commercials. They will pay me $25. I wonder where they got my name. I must remember that I am writing this 31 years later and that it is taken for the most part from information I wrote 31 years prior. If I did this same job now, today, tomorrow, I might earn $50, maybe more. It is very hard to assess myself, though I feel that some of what I do has merit. It is even more difficult to access myself. Perhaps I have never actually left the Stone Age and only think that I have returned there. I am still confused as to whether politics, influence the human condition, or vice versa. I am untrained, but can now say that I have friends with names like Charles and Howard rather than Chuck and Howie. Maybe I should go to Paris or Italy. I feel pretty heavy. Fathers have the habit of buying their kids hot dogs with the works, or SpaghettiOs. I got busted for shoplifting, again. The kids don't mind. They end up eating the stuff with their fingers. I touch the money in my pocket as if it were lost in the woods, as if I were lost in the woods. One thing follows the next. I estimate I have $60. You can't buy anything for $60 in the woods. Children look toward their parents for protection. All kids do. All kids melt into their parents' thighs. A school bus passes. The driver is a woman. The body of a 22-year-old male was found strangled to death by a cable TV cord in his doctor's office. Later, when the police knocked on the doctor's door, he answered it naked. What is more improbable, a psychiatrist murderer or a lawyer poet? I want to recount a long dream, but since it is so long and detailed, I will at another time go back to the entry from 31 years ago and read it quietly to myself. I am distorting the facts, making them into cat, dog, and fish stories. There are cats in this story, but I will not include them just yet. I'm in a foul mood. I will have the stitches removed today. My head still hurts. Whatever happened to that weird, handsome, chatty young man I exchanged music with? When I said the dog had a vaginal infection because she never had sex, the couple's eyes met, then looked away. To be a kid and have a parent who drives a school bus might make you proud, but when you grow up, you might feel embarrassed, or vice versa. The laundry basket is full of damp clothes. You know that feeling. I fondle my money, various bills folded one atop the other, crinkled and bulging like dead leaves. Sunset begins to cover the road like dust. Dust everywhere. If your dad's the bus driver and Tom's dad's the banker, look at the mountain, she says. My fingers tighten around my wad as I ascend the stairs. It's no good to leave the house when the last chapter you've read was about death. I'm lost. There is no mountain. Sometimes the telephone is the only exit. She says I talk because I have a mouth. Don't mind him, she says. He talks because he has a mouth. The shopping mall is now the mountain. We cuddle up inside the dust of sunset. The road comes into view. Wherever I go, people always turn on radios. I blacked out and hit my head against the radiator. It split open and the past gushed out like blood from a stone. My fear was instantaneous. I screamed in a voice that can only be described as a high-pitched, mousy falsetto. In other words, like a little girl. Enough of this nonsense. The doctor definitely strangled his patient. The sun lays on my cheek like a dead wound. I have a headache as I enter the bus. I suddenly realize that this bus is the same bus I took to school when I was a kid back in the Stone Age. I am drowning at the bottom of the table around the spot where raindrops fell. The light passes through the trees. Am I just another one of their dying friends? Is it all over for me? The dog pushes its nose into my hand. Grilled face sandwiches. The reality of blankness. The reality of getting up. And now I am gone.
I think he was a survivor for for many years, and so I think he could go with a smile on his face that that he moved from one position to another and was looking up to the sky, and he was on his way halfway up the mountain. We don't know what position he was on the mountain because that's inside of himself, that we're not inside of him. We can't really tell. But all of these spots, he was there. And I wish the neighborhood hadn't, the neighborhood's changed now. There's fewer spots. Everything is like, gentrified. And that spirit that of, Dennis Charles, the drummer, and walking down the street, and Steve and Don Cherry walking down the street, people talking and meeting and all of that. I don't, it's not here right now, and I don't know if it'll ever return. But I think that, Steve, Steve did his thing.
Steve was constantly going to Brooklyn, also to all these little places that are doing music now that a lot of them come up for a little while and then they go. Steve was always in the subways headed out to Brooklyn to hear music too, whether it was the bigger venues like Roulette, Issue Project Room, he was always attending somewhere in Brooklyn too. So, I look at Steve's brain as a map of Manhattan, but it's also a map of Brooklyn. But he's a New York original. He's a Planet Earth original.
Schweinehunden Rampensau. Schweinehunden Rampensau. Schweinehunden Rampensau. Schweinehunden Rampensau. Latka music, Kishka music, Kreplach music, Knish music, pastrami music, Schmalzen Herring gefilte fish music, minstrel music, dance music, medicine music, hokum music, boogaloo music, hully-gully, strand, stroll, twist, rope, jump, foxtrot, cha-cha, charanga, dandelion, hand jive, ass, hand jive, ass, scat music, smokum music, hoy music, carnival music, carnivore music, mumble music, humble music, bumble music, doornail music, rococo music, baseball music, mudslide music, murder music, monster music, proper music, bayou music, music, muscle music, tango music, Creole music, sandwich music, spare rib music, plastic music, spastic music, disaster music, gizmo music, sweat gland music, blender music, optical music, oppressive music, buckle, visible, twilight, ishka, shishka, is it, titza, zitza, or is it, Schnitzer and the Alice, the Gute und Gonna Bisa in a apple saucer, Tatakella, Rinagala, Pilla, Maya, Atamo, Kayaka, Gaya, Zana, Dinner, there in a super plan music. Schweinehunden Rampensau, Schweinehunden Rampensau, Schweinehunden Rampensau, Schweinehunden Rampen, Hunden, Schweinen, Sauer, Rumpen, Hunden, Dennis, Schwein, Hunter, Schweiner, Sauer, Inner, Rampen, Sarah, Sanne, Hunden, Neiven, Rampenschwein. Ishka, Shishka, Tishka, Ishka, Shit. Tishta, Shista, Kahista, Sauer, Ishka, Biblo, Schlumpen, Cow. Removal, I love you, removal, I love you, removal, I'll hurt you, I love you, I'll smack you. Now smack me, I love you, removal, it's so good. Now smack her. A haven, a waterboard, a wonderboard, a piece of bread. Now smack her. I love you. No, take it. Don't touch it. Please have it. Take it. It's yours. It's not yours. So take it. So take it. Just bar talk, not bar talk, or bar talk, not bar talk, or master wax, or ultrasound, or golden wood, or specialist, or orange lion, gag line. So kiss me. Don't kiss me. Just smack me and drink this. And I fooled you. Now slap and kiss. It's tough love, it's tough love, it's tough love, it's tough love. Now slap kiss and slap kiss, it's tough love, it's tough love. Now drink this, now smack her, it's tough love. Now kiss her, now smack her, now kiss her, now smack her, now kiss her. Any more airbags and you're sure to fly away. Schweinehund Rampensau, Schweinehund Rampensau, Ruppen, Schweiner, Sau, Sauer, Hunde, Punter, Hunden, Tennis, Schweine, Schweine, Rampen, Hunden, Sauer, Schweine, Hunden, Rampen, Sauen, Hunder, Schweine, in a Ramper, Inter, Sauer, Hunden, Neive, Sue. Jester, Susie, Sabine, pen, join, snug, gun, heady, absdo, gender, agenda. Headline, headache, head on, headlong, heartbreak, headstone, headgear, head game, head start, slap kiss, slap kiss, slap kiss, slap kiss, hit miss, tough love, fooled ya, Natuzi, and Toteka, and Toteka, and Oteka, Soseki, Zana, Pepela, Paradisio, Columbia. Intimate the image, know what to say, intimate the image, know what to say, look at the picture, know what to say, look at the picture, advertise the sing-along, learn how to speak, learn how to speak about others or imitate their speech, isolate the visible, privatize your lips, ishta, shishka, ista, shishka, a double in the Bedenheim, Frischen, in Ceylon. Slap kiss, fooled ya. Slap kiss, fooled ya. Passenger, Leonair, backyard, off the terminal, unconscious, unconscientious, unconscientious unconscious objector, subconscious objector, conscientious contention, airways shuttle, lumber, rock, waves, expect solution, consensus, rapid armor, hall of science, low-flying airport delays, removal services, low-flying airports, courtyard guarding, building better, stone care, our histories, Rampensau, northern, eastern, Gulf, lunch, travel, expressway, golf, hunch, your tradition. Kiss slap, tough love, kiss slap, tough love, removal, I'll hurt you, I'll hug you, I'll hurt you, I'll hug you, I'll smack you, I'll eat you, ramp in sound, leave it library, Grand Central, White Fields, Royal Paradise, Chase Tunnels, Sunrise Collision Tower, Farming Town, Plumbing Town, Heating Colony, Cross Stations, Latin Crow Mills, 5-star Lobo Skis, Leboscow at Apex, Labanza Cabeza Arena, Area, Ari, Bottleneck, Diagnosis, Daycare, American Depot, Pibos, Placebos, und Schweine, Hunden Rampensau, und Hunden Schweine, Penars, working through commercial traffic, walking against the line. Prefeltesa, soldatura, nova due, nuevo, nueva, vam, vacuum, varum, plep, 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 plap, plep, 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 plap, rum, 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 boom, bum, skloom, skloom, buha, buha, vaza, balaka, palaka, palaka, bastoni, epicologia de contrato, cono, folo, ciola, viola, victrola, cuachila, taratoni, pulpa, aletti, leghetti, libretti, calce, de qualce, buza, buza, ciola, vendetta, tactilismo, pensicola, templamentos, and total detonation while contemplating the sky. King's Chef, Beauty Supplies, Linden Cold Snap, Polar Vortex, home and 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 skyline, play, dine, unwind, boxing, saving state, family kids club, club, family kids club, 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 club me, smack me, kiss me, drink me, field me, sprint, chase, bank me, bang me, hang me, haunt me, lunch me, dine me, beat me, kill me, cook me, cook me, cook me, eat me, eat me. Schweine, Hunden, Rampen, Sau. Schweine, Hunden, Rampen, Sau. Schweine, Hunden, Rampen, Sau.
I can almost picture him walking from the knitting factory in all its incarnations in the city, from the time it was at on Houston Street to the time it was on Leonard Street. You can see Steve walking from the Stone, to all the little places the music happened in the Lower East Side, fly-by-night places that might have been only there for a while. You can see Steve walking uptown to different venues. You can almost make a map of the city through Steve walking from venue to venue. Often within a night, he might check out 2 or 3 things.
Steve really loved music and he loved doing what he was doing. Now, whether that started out as with a lot of people who's come into music, whether it started out as a therapeutic idea, as it starts out of something of self-expression or a way of survival. Once it kicks in, it becomes an art form. It becomes a high art because of consistency, because you're doing it and you're devoted to it, and you really become that. He would do 2-3 gigs, readings a night. Say, where you go? I'm going to do a reading. Oh, I can't stay over half hour. I got to go to a reading. Then I got to go to another reading. And I was often figuring out, so I was like, man, I say, what's wrong with this cat? This cat, like, I couldn't imagine doing what he was doing. Like, go out every single night to listen to music. Man, I like once a year for me. But he would go out every night, and then I think one realizes that when you're a poet, you're like the low end of the registry as far as making money. If you don't have a teaching job, how are you going to survive? And a musician can play a wedding, and play a dance if you can't do a concert. So he was trying to figure out ways to read and hone his craft in the meantime. And if he had kept going, I think he was reaching his point of to get to an apex up there to even help change the way people see, hear, and experience the art of being a spoken word or poetry artists, because he worked with rock musicians. He gave me a CD, to electronic music, to jazz. I mean, when he started going over to Europe, like he had like determined to do what he did. You know, whether he was invited to Paris or not, he was at Paris. Whether whether he was, whether there was a gig there, when he got there, he created a gig. I mean, he was really focused on what he was doing.
He wasn't trying to live up to any certain idea of what he should be like. It just flowed, whatever it was. And, in one ways, he's a perfect archetype of somebody whose life was changed by the music of John Coltrane, Cecil Taylor, Ornette Coleman, and Sun Ra. And, the things that he really was. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no attempt to please academia. There is no attempt to fit in. There is no attempt for any of that. It's just what it is. That was his strength. But he persisted in being an outsider enough to where there were enough people from a bunch of different scenes that really loved him. And if you added all that together, it added up to something.
So it's constantly going out, hitting the pavement, doing these readings, and reaching people. And he was reaching people because he had a large following. And people were digging what he was doing. And if he had sat home and gone out once a year, he wouldn't have reached so many people. So he had this energy to do it, so why not do it?
One thing about a certain venue, CBGBs, they're obviously known as the New York Punks venue, and it has a vast history. William Parker did a kind of a residency there once with his big band, Little Huey Orchestra. I attended a couple concerts of that in the audience, and they were hair-raising events. If you ever heard William Parker's big band, when it was really on and at its best, the hairs on your head would raise. I remember in the Orizon's Arts Center, Orizon's place one time, hearing one of the best Little Huey gigs I've ever heard, and the actual architecture and the acoustics of the Orizon Center really added to the whole effect, and it was overwhelming. I do remember hearing a couple gigs in that residency at CBGB's that were overwhelming. It was great to have jazz in the punk venue of New York City. That was kind of a great thing to happen.
Well, in the 70s, I used to play at a place called Hilly's on the Bowery. I played there with the Rashid Ali Quintet and Quartet. We play there every Tuesday. And Hilly's was the name of the guy who owned CBGB's, and it was a jazz club, Hilly's on the Bowery. And later on, they turned it into CBGB's. And so the hip thing about all the clubs, the East Village Inn, which was turned into the New Eurekan Village, turned into the Pyramid Club, all these places, is that you had live music, and people were coming out, and people were gathering, and it was a community, it was a commune, and a community of people, and everybody walked out of there, with a smile on their face. Everybody walked out of there, if you're a painter, you go home and say, I'm going to paint. If you're a writer, you say, I'm going to go home and write. The same way I would maybe, hear or see a painting, and I go home and write music.
Advance, decline, high, new, low, new, high, new, low, new, high, new, decline, advance, the changes, high, new, low, new, high, new, no change, no change, no change, radio, TV, office, basement, spy, war, dramas. Give the upper class something to munch on. Give the upper class something to munch on over cocktail and caviar, black coffee, tranquilizer, business transaction, telegrams. Give the middle class something to dig their teeth into between discussions. The Nazi file clerk with the swastika on her pencil, the plight of the Jews in the Midtown Insurance Company, the week-old mushroom gravy, the buttered potatoes and string beans, the childhood lamb chops. Nobody knows what they're talking about anyway. Give the lower class something to bust rusty calluses about in their overcrowded trash can slum rooms, which was bad enough to come home to with the Coca-Cola beer, the stale bread, and what's left over from Thanksgiving Swanson dinners. It's a wonder they still give thanks, any of them. Give the ones starving in the uneducated hills nothing. Give them nothing. They never hear about these things anyway. Maybe the news of some civil war just reached the migrant farmer's dead cow, all blue, gray, and swollen on the frozen skeleton floor. Up a point, down a point, down a point, buy, sell, unchanged, up a point, down a point, down a point, up a point, down a point, down a point, buy, sell, unchanged. Anyone with information about the brutal murder of a man named God, held up and robbed, as well as anyone with information about the brutal murder of a man named God, held up and robbed, as well as please call the following number. Call the following number. Call the following number. Low ceiling, called out, 15,000 reserves, fly but drop, but drop, but drop, fly but drop, but drop. What do you mean drop, drop? Drop a few atom bombs on them, just drop, 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 dead, drop dead. One here, one there, it's all their fault anyway. They deserve anything they get. Back in '64, the U.S. started bombing North Vietnam as retaliation for some similar type modern Navy saga boat stealing incident. They're still retaliating and retaliating and retaliating. We're still retaliating and retaliating. Down a point, up a point, buy, sell, unchanged, up a point, buy, ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Chi, 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 ho, chi, 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 ho, chi, chi, chi. The uppers dream of nightmare crashes, Wall Street crises, dollar sign dilemmas, mint flavor brandy Alexanders, their kids cool, crazy marijuana mustached, rations in sport car. The middle class is the middle. They're just dreaming of their sons and their families and their dogs and their grandmothers and their boss. They're just dreaming of their boss. Some are dreaming of the Star of David armbands on their Jewish, Irish, Italian brows. They better not move until this neighborhood tomorrow. They better not move into this neighborhood tomorrow. They better not move into this neighborhood tomorrow. Tomorrow 6 p.m. Tomorrow 6 p.m. news on their new Xmas color TV. They better not move into this. The lowest dream of their anger and their hunger. They dream of the rats sleeping in the baby's crib. They dream of tearing down their city for serious fun, for the homeland, for Cadillac power, black Cadillac power. The ones that people forgot. Maybe don't dream, or maybe don't sleep at all. Maybe they doze sometimes. Maybe they doze sometimes in the big city. Bare feet, dead cow, boss, grandmother, dog, crisis, dilemma,